This is undeniably the best anime of the year. Authored by Yuji Kaku, as an assistant and a patient to Shigeru Fujimoto, it was destined that this anime would be anything but ordinary. The story takes place in the Edo period of Japan. A man is subjected to a torturous punishment known as bull splitting. This punishment, relying on the pulling force of two bulls, could tear a man apart in an instant. However, the man remained unharmed even when the bulls were exhausted to death. Then comes the beheading. Samurai swing their blades frantically, chopping so wildly one might think they were chopping vegetables. In the end, the blade shattered on the spot. Then comes the burning. The man's clothes are burned away, but he remains unscathed. The man's name is Gabimaru, a ninja. Perhaps it's because he has killed too many people that he no longer cares about life, including his own. He hails from a place called the Stone Hidden Village, where children are forced to learn the art of killing from birth. Gabimaru's parents were killed by the village head when he was still a baby. He had no dreams or ambitions and simply obeyed orders to kill. As Gabimaru was the strongest ninja in the Stone Hidden Village, the village head gave him his daughter in marriage. Unlike the others in the village, this woman was surprisingly innocent. Her presence led to a seismic change in Gabimaru's world. The tranquil life made him sluggish and he felt he was growing weaker. He wanted to leave, and the village head told Gabimaru that he could be free after completing one last task. However, he was betrayed by his comrades during the execution of the task, which led to his capture. This must have been the village head's command, as the village rules dictated no traitor would be spared. The woman silently stood by, recording everything related to Gabimaru. The samurai told her to stay away from Gabimaru, as he was incredibly dangerous. In their attempt to capture him, over 20 of their colleagues were killed. It was rumored that he was a heartless man who neither bled nor cried, as he didn't feel the meaning of life. Throughout the execution, Gabimaru kept saying he wanted to die, but the woman wondered why it looked like he was resisting if he had no will to live. The samurai continued to say that there were rumors that the people of the Stone Hidden Village had gained immortality by drinking an elixir. Perhaps feeling that his words were absurd, he said no more. Gabimaru was constantly questioning the meaning of his existence, wondering what he was doing and why he wouldn't just die. The next day, the execution continued, this time with a punishment of boiling in oil. Yet, even when the oil pot exploded, Gabimaru came out of the fire unscathed. He was even more puzzled at this point, as there was nothing left for him to hold on to in his heart. In the dark corridor, Gabimaru was led deeper. He was growing tired of these useless punishments. The doors opened, and a strong sense of impending death hit him. The source of it all was the woman in front of him. Her name was Sajiri, a member of the Yamada Aseman, a family of executioners. She was a fearsomely skilled executioner, and her radiating aura of intent to kill even made Gabimaru feel as if he had been killed already. Unintentionally, the shackles in his hand were forcibly broken. As Sajiri struck down with her blade, Gabimaru swiftly dodged. In a detached voice, Gabimaru asked why he dodged. After all, if he just stood still, he could die. Sajiri told him that her blade reflects a person's nature. Some people put up a bluff before they are executed, some beg for their lives on the spot, while others deceive themselves into accepting death. It seems that calling you heartless is just a lie, Sajiri said. You want to live because you are deeply in love with your wife. Upon hearing these words, Gabimaru, in his anger and shame, slashed at Sajiri. In fact, Gabimaru had long known that he couldn't let go of his wife, but he had always been unwilling to admit it. He longed for the mundane and the gentle, but reality simply didn't permit it. In the Stone Hidden Village, no one could live as a normal person. Whether it was his parents being killed or his wife's face being ruined, he had no choice. To no longer kill and to live in a quiet place with just his wife, these dreams could never be realized. Sajiri told him they could be. She took out an amnesty granted by the shogunate and told Gabimaru that with it, neither the government nor the people of the Stone Hidden Village could capture him or his wife again. The condition for obtaining it was to go to a place called Paradise for the court and bring back the elixir of immortality. It was said to be a very distant place in the southwestern sea area, where there was no sorrow or pain. The court had sent a total of 5 teams to the place, but not a single person had returned alive. The only things that came back on the ships were flowers and severed human limbs, with petals growing out of the human bodies. This was truly incredible, and it further convinced the authorities that the place did indeed have the elixir of immortality. Therefore, they summoned death row inmates from across the country to go to that island. The last person to bring back the elixir would be released unconditionally. Sajiri said she came here to find someone who had both the ability and the strong desire to live, and Gabimaru was just the right fit. Whether it was to retrieve the elixir and live a normal life with his wife or to die right now, Sajiri gave 2 choices. Gabimaru closed his eyes tightly, his mind full of images of his wife. Tears fell, and after a moment, he slowly spoke. You wanted to see my true power. didn't you? I'll show you that I, Gabimaru, am capable of going to that island." As he finished speaking, his body burst into fierce flames. Ninja art, fire monk. All the people who had previously persecuted him were killed by him. He vowed that he would retrieve the elixir and live a happy life as a normal person with his wife. In the meantime, a man wakes up in the shogunate, flowers growing out of his brain and squeezed out from his eye sockets. He is the only survivor from the previous trip to the island, now a grotesque mix of man and ghost. Below, the death row inmates all kneel, all of them notorious for their countless murders. Only the successful collector of the elixir of immortality would be spared from execution. At this point, a burly man expresses his reluctance to go, stating that he'd rather die comfortably in prison than horrifically on the island. Before he finishes speaking, his head rolls on the ground. "If you're not willing to step on the island, you might as well die now," the samurai leader continues. Once the convicts are on the island, the Yamada Asiman executioners, as observers, will accompany them. If any inmate misbehaves, they will be executed on the spot. Moreover, the executioner paired with the convict will be held accountable if the inmate is intentionally or accidentally killed. If this happens, the convict will also be executed upon returning. The shogun whispers a few words to the samurai leader. After hearing this, the samurai leader announces that due to the ship's limited capacity and the shortage of Asiman executioners, the number of people needs to be reduced before departure. The death row inmates are a bit puzzled by the current situation. Suddenly, a scar-faced man grabs a fellow inmate by the throat, suggesting that they should first kill the weaker individuals. The lord on the stage does not comment on this, clearly approving this elimination method. He says, "Those who die here are useless wastes." With these words, carnage ensues. Because they are tied by ropes, most convicts cannot fight freely. However, a small number of them ignore this, each with their unusual abilities, with some even being referred to as superhuman. The scar-faced man, who at a young age led numerous thieves and built a thief tribe in the deep mountains. A female ninja, who single-handedly killed all the generals in a city. A middle-aged man with long hair, known as the Sword Dragon and unmatched in 8 provinces, a great swordsman. A giant, 5 to 6 times the size of an ordinary person, who is said to be immune to blades and even swallowed a bear whole. The most anticipated of all, though, is Gabimaru the Hollow. At this point, Gabimaru shows no interest in the slaughter. He directly tells the shogun that he doesn't like killing and asks if they could find another way to select the convicts. The samurai leader, furious, tells the other inmates that whoever can kill Gabimaru will be selected. Hearing this, a group of inmates prepare to attack Gabimaru. Gabimaru, seeing that he can't avoid the confrontation, decides to fight back. While stating that he doesn't want to kill, he walks towards them. He walks closer while repeatedly saying he doesn't want to kill. Suddenly, he breaks a man's neck with a swift kick and bites another man's throat raw. The blood-curdling screams and blood spraying everywhere shocks the higher-ups, who are accustomed to death due to the brutality. Gabimaru, however, reasons that if he kills gently, he won't be resented. Soon, the samurai leader shouts for everyone to stop. Those still alive are officially selected, a total of 10 people. They will each pair with an executioner and head to the mysterious island in the South Sea to seek the elixir of life. This is an extremely blissful land, a place of immortality, a fairyland without any danger. After landing on the island, they find it teeming with eerie monsters. Centipedes here are 2 to 3 meters long, their mouths filled with human fingers. A man is accidentally bitten by a butterfly, only to find in terror that the butterfly has a human face. The next moment, the man hacks off his bitten palm, which instantly turns into a tree. The island's inconceivabilities stun everyone, especially since the elixir of immortality hasn't appeared yet. The killings have already begun. Inmates kill overseers, overseers kill inmates, and inmates kill each other. The three-way battle ensues, and order completely collapses. In the meantime, a man named Gabimaru is talking to one of the executioners when he is suddenly attacked by a massive hammer. He is flung away by the force. The man wielding the hammer is Iwa no Kaien, a wild monk said to have been captivated by weapons during his time as a warrior monk. To gain powerful weapons, he has killed no fewer than 1,000 warriors and swordsmen. Gabimaru isn't someone to be easily taken down, however, and the surprise attack doesn't cause him significant harm. Seeing this, Iwa no Kaien's fighting spirit surges. He considers Gabimaru a worthy opponent, someone he can fight to the fullest using his prized weapons. The executioner at Iwa no Kaien's side, Sajiri, doesn't prevent the fight. Gabimaru is forced to follow the rule of being restrained by a rope. As Iwa no Kaien prepares to continue his attack, Gabamaro fights back. The force sends Iwa no Kaiyan flying, his weapons scattering. Iwa no Kaiyan slowly gets up from the dust and smoke, having sewn his armor directly onto his body. The spear attack from earlier didn't pierce him. He tries to threaten Gabamaro, but is abruptly killed on the spot. Gabamaro impatiently suggests they hurry and search for the elixir of life. Iwa no Kaiyan's executioner, Kisho, cuts off his head, ready to return and report the event. Gabamaro initially thinks he has to fight Kisho, but the executioner states that his responsibility as an seaman is only to bring back the heads of deceased convicts, and he won't interfere otherwise. Before leaving, Kisho warns the others that the mission is dangerous not only because of the island itself, but also because of the death row convicts. From the moment they landed, order collapsed. There will be those who want to reduce their opponents early, those who intend to collude, and those who feign collusion. These convicts, rule breakers who will stop at nothing to survive, will inevitably lead the seaman to danger. Meanwhile, a convict who slept through most of the journey suddenly stands up, feeling murderous intent. The executioner is about to react, but in the next moment, his blade shatters and his upper body is squashed. At the same time, at the coast, a convict known as Murderer Buddha has his arm torn off, and his head is crushed. The courtesan who seduced the executioner is now dead, her body lying in a pool of blood. Kisho also reveals two secrets before leaving. First, the shogunate has definitely had contact with the Hidden Stone Village. Second, the mission will select the next head of the Aseeman clan. After Kisho departs, Gabamaro suddenly attacks Sajiri. He realizes that if the people from the Hidden Stone Village land on the island early, all will be in vain. He needs to get to the elixir first. Despite having no grudge against Sajiri, he views her as a hindrance. Sparks fly as their blades clash. Even though Gabamaro's attacks seem fierce, they lack killing intent. Gabamaru doesn't understand why he is hesitating now. The face of his wife flashes in his mind. If he can't become stronger, he won't be able to protect his wife or even survive himself. Sajiri's blade breaks under Gabamaru's assault, and she can only defend with the hilt. After a long struggle, Gabamara gains control of the situation, claiming that he is heartless and the most formidable, Gabamaru the Hollow. Sensing the immense killing intent, Sajiri closes her eyes as if resigned to her fate. However, the expected death does not come. Gabamaro, trembling, halts his blade, and tears fall from his eyes. Seeing Gabamaru's emotional struggle, Sajiri finally understands the feelings he's been suppressing, emotions he's denied, a truth he's refused. But they are not signs of weakness, but seeds of strength. At this moment, she looks forward to seeing if Gabamaro can reclaim a life that acknowledges his emotions. She decides to let go of the past mistakes and does not hold Gabamaru's attack against him. Even though their positions remain the same, she points out that Gabamaro is no longer the same person he once was.